is better. You should always aim for less, but at the same time, you have to get it working. Then you can go through your code and make it more optimized, or this is a better way of doing this. And like, let's say this instance, oh, we got this first person shooter control and we got all these models. Okay, well, let's say, hey, we only need this guy to carry 2 weapons because that's all he has access to. 2 weapons. Well, because we didn't change anything, only have this position, and this is a single thing, you can actually put this as your prefab. Hey, you got this prefab, bam, there you go. And because you don't have all these weird like checks and everything as your script, and it's dependent, and it's only sending a message, hey, kick on, not in a script, dude, derpy derp, that it just kicks on and plays an animation, then it doesn't need to know all this other stuff. So you can go, hey, in the start of the application, started the instance of the guy, like if you're in multiplayer, you would take this, you'd parent it to your first person guy. Like you would have this shut off, okay, which you'd have a scene camera like, hey, guess what? This is cool, and watch everybody fighting around or whatnot. And when you get in the first player mode, you're like, main camera off, and then spawn, and you're like, hey, yeah, sweet, run around and boom, 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 start shooting people. Which I haven't made the script to shoot yet. I'm sorry, but you know, the whole time factor and trying to give you guys a good way, but make it where you can learn something from it. Hey, but the whole point is, you can make this so dependent on only itself that you can make these prefabs like this, and you just parent them like, hey, it would be just like FPS controller main, add, boom, there you go. And when you add it, the script doesn't give a crap what you do. So it's parented. And then you could tell your array, which an array wouldn't work for this case. In this weapon script, you'd have to use a list. And then in there, you'd go into here. And because we do all these checks for length and all that, it wouldn't be a problem for the list because it's dynamic. It's resizable. In a C# class like this, arrays are not resizable at runtime. They are resizable in the editor, but not runtime. Not these type of arrays. These are fixed. Which they're okay for some purposes. If you're making a weapon change thing and they're always there, it would be fine. But if you're doing like parenting and things like that, and you need them resized, you definitely use a list. But the same concept would work here on your weapon changing. It wouldn't change too much. It would just be a list instead of an array. And then you do your iterations and stuff. Pretty much the same. But because that parent class, and it's dependent on its own, then it doesn't have to do, hey, get component, get component, get component. Hey, which one in this list is active? Which, it would be more complex code. And then here's the thing. Then if you had it tied into the weapon script like this, really the this script communicated with the script that you'd have on the weapon, you'd have a bunch of callbacks and more executable code than you actually need than to do it this way. Because this code right here can always go, hey, send a message up to the parent class. Hi, I'm on. Use weapon animation 3, which weapon animation 3 turns on the full controller guy like this. Good old free guy. Open. Okay. You do it any other time, but you won't do it. Ah, here we go. This guy would be there and he'd have no weapon, and he'd, reach over, pick out his AK and be like, hey, I'm weapon 3. I'm gonna shoot you. Boom, boom, boom. And you can have the animation system turn the gun on and do all that. You just have to sit there and animate the gun on the model, this model. He's human, so you can tie this into a lot of other characters too. And it'd be very easy. Which I am going to be working on the weapon script. I've got some of them, but not all of it. And I want to make it modular so you guys can take it to other games. But the animation thing will be pretty much, it might be generic so you can't use it on other characters, but it might be human. I haven't decided the way to do that. Windows 10. More messages. If you got Windows 7, keep it. Windows 10 does way too many alerts and stuff. It's on silent and it's still giving me messages. Kind of ridiculous. But yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to cover in this small bit and explain what the good's, the bad, because obviously there's a few things that you got to learn for object-oriented programming for this compared to the regular class of mono behaviors that you go, hey, this is a new class. Go. Thank you. And then our lovely mono develop that likes to crash and stuff. And if you have problems pasting, don't worry. I do too. Like if you want to sit there and take this and go copy, paste, sometimes it breaks. And don't feel frustrated. Don't be like me and want to break the keyboard, because then you got to buy a new one because it's irritating. But this is the regular class, and you have your void start. But like I said, if you have multiple classes, like 15 weapons, and you have those bulls and like this, like yes or no, you want a class to do this, so you only have one for memory purposes. If you're going for mobile, you definitely want to save as much memory as you possibly can. So you will be doing some of these classes like this, especially for touches and stuff, because you don't want to have 10 scripts sitting there using bulls, because it's more memory, and that's what hurts the most. So yeah, so I hope you guys learned something, but I gotta get doing some programming off the scene here and not live. But take care, and I hope to see you in the next batch of videos, guys, and take